Naman Naps, Naman Naps, Naman Naps. Okay, can everyone join in Gasho? Oh. Hello?
I can hear you.
Am I here?
Yeah.
No?
It's on. Let me turn it up.
Oh, I'll get it. No, don't worry. Hello? Huh? You okay? Okay. All right, let's start over. So join in Gasho as I quote the words of Shinran in an English translation. Alive with the inconceivable working of Amida's vow, I shall realize birth in the Pure Land. The moment you entrust yourself to the vow, so that the mind set upon saying the Nembutsu arises within you, you are immediately brought to share in the benefit of being grasped by Amida, never to be abandoned. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So, well, thank you for joining us for this tradition of commemorating the past bishops that have served the Buddhist churches of America beginning in 1899. And so, as Jean mentioned, we have this little copy of the pictures that we take from the BCA history book of these 10 people. And so currently, Reverend Kodo Umezu is the 14th bishop of the BCA. And so after the Reverend Kendyu Tsuji, we've had Reverend Seigen Yamaoka, and then Reverend Hakubun Watanabe, and Reverend Koshin Ogui. So, and then we are now in the process of going through a selection process for whoever is going to become the 15th bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America. And to my, well, I don't want to get off the track, but anyway, it's just I'm so disappointed. I was supporting Reverend Patricia Usuki to become a candidate for the next bishop, but she took her name out of nomination. She declined the nomination. So we have two candidates now being considered. Okay, Reverend Jerry Hirano of the Salt Lake Buddhist Temple, and Reverend Ron Miyamura. He likes to be referred to as Reverend Ron 1 because he's older than me. But anyway, so Reverend Ron 1 Miyamura is serving at the Midwest Buddhist Temple, where basically he spent his whole career. Because he started there in 1973 or around there. And then he took a leave and he worked for United Airlines, realizing he'll get a better pension that way. So he fulfilled his pension obligation, and so now he returned to the Midwest Buddhist temple. So, well, he says he'll serve till he dies. Okay, so he's dedicated. I don't want to do that. But anyway, so this is the history. And this is one way the headquarters come up with all these ideas. How do we raise funds? And so one of the ideas, apparently someplace way back when, maybe Kyoshi before your time, right? We've always had this a bishop's memorial. Do you know when it started?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's another way for the headquarters to get some financial support. So all the contributions from the bishop's memorial service, we send over to the headquarters, or at least we will report. This is how much we received. But anyway, so that's the tradition here. But it's also a way of reflecting upon our organization. You know, Buddhist Churches of America, which was, as Reverend Dr. Duncan Williams reported in his book, the name Buddhist Churches of America was adopted during the camp experience, when the leaderships got together and they said we should become more westernized. And so the bishop at that time, Reverend Ryotai Matsukage, so he was serving as the bishop during the war period. And he made the decision how we can really plant roots here in America. And he identified that we are an American organization, in a way trying to distance BCA from Japan. So, you know, that was pretty politically astute. You got this country that the America's at war with, and then our mother temples in the heart of Japan. So I said, okay, this is not going to work, so we better... I don't know what the term is, but this is a quote that I took from Dr. Williams' book that appeared in a diary of one of the ministers that was interned at one of the camps. And he was sharing his reflections, and this is based upon a statement by Reverend Daisho Tana. I guess the last temple he served at BCA was in Palo Alto. I mean, before I started, I've never met him, but his son is a world-renowned jazz drummist, Akira Tana. But anyway, okay. So this is something interesting, I thought, where Reverend Tana's reflection upon the controversy that this raised, because everybody didn't go for it. You know, so here's Reverend Tana's reflection. It was probably best that our organization did not take an anti-American position, because the North American Buddhist headquarters was originally incorporated under American laws. Depending on how the winds blew, it could now either be disbanded by the government or could receive the government's protection. American Buddhism has been nurtured here for roughly 50 years. It is natural that if the organization wants to maintain a long-term existence here and to prosper, it must adopt stances that receive protection from the American government. Thus, we should recognize the necessity of making anti-Axis statements or proclamations of loyalty to America. There are those who complain, is our bishop really Japanese? But as long as we live here as individuals in America, we must live within the constraints put upon us by the U.S. government. So this was written 70 years ago, so I don't know how many of us would subscribe to this opinion, but this was under the circumstances what Reverend Tana, how he supported Reverend or Bishop Matsukage's position under those circumstances. So everything we recognize are causes and conditions. And by the way, you know how many of you have been to the Japanese cemetery? Okay, maybe about half. Huh? In coma. I mean, yes, in coma. Yeah. Oh, Matt, you remember? Yeah. So that's called the Japanese cemetery, right? And then you notice the big stone monument there, and with the inscription Namo Amida Butsu. I understand that was built around or in memory of Reverend Matsukage. You know the history?
Not really.
Well, me too. I don't really know the history, but that's what I was told, because you see it inscribed in that part of that stone thing. And there, that stone itself, I don't know, this I read, or actually I wrote about it in the Wheel of Dharma, but it was donated, or it was discovered up in Placer County by a very devout Shin Buddhist at the Placer Buddhist Temple or something. He was a farmer, and he found this huge, while you've seen how big it is, I can't guess what the dimensions are, and he arranged to have it transported down to Coma for the specific purpose to establish the BCA monument at the Japanese cemetery. But anyway, that's very significant to reflect upon the responsibilities bishops have. Me too. I don't necessarily always appreciate what he does, but it's a pretty heavy responsibility. And can you imagine during the war how that kind of responsibility must have felt? Because the whole future is unpredictable. No way of determining whether there will be a temple, a congregation, organization once the war is over. But that's what he had to deal with. And I'm told that he didn't get sent to the Department of Justice camps with most of the other priests and clergy. He was excluded because he was sick. He was ill. He had these medical challenges, but still in his determination to try to maintain the Sangha, he continued to work. And that's when they made the transition, apparently, to become more Americanized. And then he began to rely upon the second generation, Niseis. And they even adopted a policy where BCA business would be conducted in English only. Official BCA business is to be done in English 70 years ago. Well, obviously, a lot of people didn't get that message, because when I started, I remember going to these ministers' meetings and they were speaking in Japanese. I say, hey, what's going on here? But then I started speaking Pidgin. But this is, again, part of the history that we're here to reflect upon and not to take for granted. We've been here 120 years and we'll be here another whatever. Who knows? But that's for us to kind of make that kind of determination, commitment, and see what of value, what meaning we have realized from being part of this Sangha, this community. And with that, feel some responsibility to share that with others. So as we keep quoting Shinran, may peace and serenity prevail, and may the Buddha Dharma spread. So that's what our Sangha is about. Not as an ethnic organization necessarily, but as a spiritual organization, a religious organization beyond boundaries. Beyond boundaries. This is how I feel the vision of the bishops have hopefully continued to be transmitted through the generations. Yeah, I was curious, it just hit me. What does bishop mean anyway? The Japanese term they've adopted for bishop is what? Does anyone recall? Socho. Socho means, if I look at the characters, it means general, and cho extension, long. Sensei, Keisuke Sensei, how would you what does socho mean?
General manager.
Oh, general manager. Oh, okay, so that's how they figured out that fits with bishop, because here's the bishop's definition in Webster's. Okay? One having spiritual or ecclesiastical supervision as an Anglican, Eastern Orthodox, or Roman Catholic clergyman ranking above a priest, having authority to ordain and confirm, and typically governing a diocese, or any of Protestant clerical officials who superintend other clergy, a Mormon high priest presiding over a ward or over all other bishops and over the Aaronic priesthood. Either of the two pieces, or another definition, either of the two pieces of the same color in a set of chessmen having the power to move diagonally across any number of unoccupied squares. Or the third one is really interesting. A mulled, M-U-L-L-E-D, beverage of port wine, flavored with roasted orange and cloves. Well, I'm not a drinker, so I have no clue what this is referring to. But it's, well, so, we're observing a drinker's memorial. Yeah, maybe bishops do drink. I don't know. Now that I think of it. Oh, no, Reverend Yamaoka is not much of a drinker. Well, Reverend Watanabe is on the opposite extreme. Okay, anyway. I don't want to get too personal here, but that's the deal. Recognizing, memorializing, reflecting upon the legacy of our bishops, and to acknowledge the contributions they made to maintaining and trying to keep our Sangha alive, our BCA alive. And this is how I hope we too can feel that sense of aliveness in participating in this community, in this congregation. And as Jean was mentioning, she's the treasurer of the General Planning Committee for the World Buddhist Women's Convention that will be held here on Labor Day weekend. And the theme of the convention is, anyone remember? Eigo de? What's in it? What's that in? Live the Nembutsu. Live the Nembutsu. I didn't agree with that theme, but anyway. They overrode my opinion, but that's how organizations go. But that's the theme that we've adopted. Live the Nembutsu. And then you've seen in the Wheel of Dharma, Elaine Sensei shared her views, and various other major participants in that planning process have shared their views. Mrs. Janet Umezu, she's the honorary chairman of the Buddhist Federation of Buddhist Women's Associations, FBWA. And then the general chair of the planning committee, Mrs. Susan Baltari from San Mateo. And so they've all shared their different ideas about this theme, Live the Nembutsu. And you're all welcome to think about what that means for you and come to the convention and share it. But you have to have a badge. Our enforcer, i.e., Elaine Donlin. I mean, we're not playing here. And unfortunately, that's how the world is today. The security concerns of any big gathering is a major issue. So we can't take it so lightly. And just walk into the Marriott and say, oh, I'm here to see my cousin. I'm here to meet my longtime classmate who's coming from Japan. That's not going to happen. Okay, just be aware of that. You could wait outside on the street, I guess, but as far as coming into the convention, it's going to be very restrictive. See, you should have signed up when you had the chance, but anyway. Do we still have that room situation to deal with?
Yeah, we have about 20 rooms available at the 290
wow, that many. Shoots. Well, okay, get to my point here. So what does live the Nembutsu for me? Okay, another acronym. It's not too original, actually. I just kind of redid one of the old ones. But so live. Okay, what is it to live the Nembutsu? L-I-V-E. Love, inspire, value, engage. Got it? Live the Nembutsu. Live life. But, well, this is kind of really digressing. But have you ever considered or thought about spelling? How is live spelled in the opposite?
Evil.
So the definition of Buddhist evil is to be the opposite of live. What do you think, Kai? That makes sense? Okay, you could think about it. But we're here to live our life. And then with that, we, in our Shin tradition, begin to appreciate our life. Right? We value how hard it is to be born into human life. Now we're living it. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear them. If we don't come alive in this present life, when will we ever have this opportunity again? So let us together live the Nembutsu. As Shinran was encouraging, or he realized for himself and shared that with others. And he inspired others. So much that the Shin Buddhist tradition became an organization, became an institution, became a Buddhist tradition that spread throughout Japan. And 120 years ago, that spirit was transmitted or brought over by the circumstances of the Shin Buddhists who are living here in San Francisco in 1898, determined to bring this spiritual resource to America, to their new home country. And so we're part of that legacy, and hopefully that sense of being alive with the Nembutsu will continue to prevail, so that peace and tranquility may be experienced by all beings. Okay, I just pulled this out of my drawer, but since I saw Kai was here this morning, and we don't have any other Dharma school people. But anyway, here's another gimmick thing that came to me. Was it yesterday? Mindy, was I trying to fix my sunglasses yesterday? Oh, okay. So this is the thought I'll leave with. Okay, so, the thing of my sunglasses broke. So I went out and got this, infomercial. There was this kind of glue, and then you put this little light thing on it, and it says it'll fix any kind of plastic. Well, that's not true. Well, anyway, so I asked Mindy to help me struggle so I can try to make this reattach. But then she started asking, "Where'd you get these?" I said, "Well, I got them at Ross." "How much you pay for them?" I think it was about $10 because I got it on the discount. And then she said, "Why don't you throw them away?" But then later I thought, huh? The glue? Yeah, but I could keep using the glue too. Yeah, if anybody needs any plastic things, see me. You're welcome to try this new revolutionary thing. I mean, it's such an interesting gimmick. There's this little light that you turn on towards the glue that's supposed to, what do you call this?
Sensei.
Huh?
Sensei. It's ultraviolet cured glue. So you put the glue in and you turn on the ultraviolet light and it's the same thing the dentists use, except the product that they sell, to us is not like what the dentist has.
Oh, is that the theory behind
Yeah,
this?
it's the same stuff, but they don't have the right light for it. You have to have a certain wavelength to cure the glue.
Oh, that's very dharmic. If you're off if you don't have the correct wavelength, and if you don't have the correct light, you're out of trouble. But anyway, okay, here's the takeaway for this illustration. Okay, the punchline is, I scribbled it this morning. Oh, if it's broken, throw it away. So simple, right? If it's broken, whatever it is, what your beliefs are, what your opinions are, throw it away. I fished this out of the trash can this morning. All right. So is that enough? I guess so. Okay. So I'm going to close again with the quote of Shinna that I've kind of, what do you call that when you change words? Make up. I made it up. But I substituted in the traditional Orthodox English translation of this Tanisho passage. It's saved by the inconceivable working. But I would prefer to offer it as alive with the inconceivable working of Amida's vow. I shall realize birth in the Pure Land. The moment you entrust yourself thus to the vow, so that the mind set upon saying the Nembutsu arises within you, you are immediately brought to share in the benefit of being grasped by Amida, never to be abandoned. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda.